According to Psychology Today, the bystander effect occurs when the presence of others hinders an individual from intervening in an emergency situation. By this, it is basically saying that during an emergency situation, individuals feel as others will take action, so he or she does not. This occurs nearly every day, and hundreds, even thousands of helpless individuals are harmed each year. The following clips is our example that we recorded over the weekend. Yes.
We go on to explain the project and ask if we could interview him.
What was going through your mind when you thought someone who was in need of help?
Just that someone needed help, couldn't reach something on the shelf, so I tried to help them out.
And what do you think of other individuals who ignored the guy who needed help?
They should probably think of themselves being in that position.
It took a mere 30 seconds for Jace to get help. That really isn't that long, right? Does that make the bystander effect a fallacy? You may draw your conclusions after watching the following video. All credit goes to Global News.
And this next story is difficult to watch, even tougher to believe. A Good Samaritan on the streets of New York City sees someone in distress and steps in to help, but when he becomes the victim for helping, no one steps up for him, with tragic consequences. Global National's Paul Johnson has the story, and a warning, some viewers may find the pictures disturbing.
Police say he was a Good Samaritan. 31-year-old Hugo tailed Yaks, stabbed as he tried to protect a woman from a mugger. This surveillance tape shows him bleeding to death on the sidewalk as 25 people passed him by. In that hour and 20 minutes, one man takes a cell phone picture, another actually lifts his body, sees the blood, and walks away. By the time paramedics got there, it was too late.
Anybody that would do that and just leave him there to die, that's no morals, you know? No morals, no conscience.
Shocking, but hardly uncommon. In Hartford, Connecticut, a 78-year-old man who was hit by a car died after countless others passed him by. A patient who collapsed in the waiting room of this New York psych ward was left face down for an hour before she died, with staff and other patients looking on.
A lot of you are probably thinking, not me. If I saw something like that happening, I would jump in and help. But statistically speaking, you wouldn't, especially if there were a lot of other people around.
There's an assumption that someone else must be helping out. We're motivated to try to fit into our social environment. We're influenced by others. We want to do what others do. Our behavior will follow.
It's known as the bystander effect. The more people present, the less likely anyone will step forward and do something.
Ignoring what the broadcaster said in the video, you're probably still thinking you'd be willing to help out in any situation. We decided to test out the idea of the bystander effect here in our very own halls of Pekin Community High School, in Walmart, and in the Menards parking lot.
Oh, I would go for one for the, We've got some that has I moved down. You guys just started anywhere now about that time.
No, they said no chocolate when I made them. No, when I made them, they said no chocolate. And we didn't put no frosting.
Imagine being in Chase's position. It took him over 45 seconds to get an object off the shelf. Wait, did you notice anything weird about this clip? Let's rewind it for a moment and replay it. Stop. Do you see that? The girl looks in the opposite direction of Jace. She is also parallel to him. Is it ironic that she just happened to look away from the scene right as she walks past it? Or is she trying to ignore the whole situation? We good? No, Did you notice the driver of the truck? Instead of taking a moment to check on Connor, he or she honked the horn to have him get out of the way.
The bystander effect can range from little situations, such as ignoring an individual who dropped his books, to drastic situations, such as ignoring the Holocaust while it was going on. One of the most famous examples of the bystander effect occurred in March of 1964. Kitty Genovese was on her way home from work when she got stabbed in front of her apartment. 38 people heard her screaming, and none of them helped until a half hour after the attack. There are two explanations that led to why nobody had helped Kitty. The first reason is known as the diffusion of responsibility, meaning that since there are other observers, individuals felt no pressure to help Kitty. Also, in society today, individuals feel the need to behave in socially acceptable ways. Because of this, if bystanders fail to react to an emergency situation, others will believe that it is not an emergency and help is not needed. Would you encourage a student who had witnessed a fight to get involved or try and stop it?
Depends on how bad the fight is. I mean, if it's very violent, then no. Just have them notify the closest adult and let us deal with it. We don't want to take a chance on them getting hurt. If they can break it up safely and at least get the party separated, then it's better to do that. That way there's no other people that are standing by watching getting hurt.
All right. So what you're saying is you would recommend him to go notify a teacher if he or she could not resolve it himself?
Yeah.
So if there was a chance of him being able to stop the fight, would you recommend him trying it or no?
I mean, I wouldn't feel bad if they didn't. You know, I mean, we don't expect them to get involved. You know, it just depends on how they feel about doing it themselves. If they feel that they can break it up safely and stop it and not get hurt, you know, then kudos to them.
So you think safety is the main?
Safety's the main thing. You know, I mean, when the two kids are fighting, you know, they're going to get hurt. You know, and the main thing is we don't want anybody else getting hurt. You know, having another student try to break up a fight and then having that student get hurt just kind of makes things a lot worse. You know, the teachers and faculty and myself and Jim, you know, I mean, we have to take care of it. Doesn't matter whether we get hurt or not. You know, that's what we're here for. You know, and I wouldn't want to see another student get hurt breaking up a fight, but if they could safely do it and they try, then that's good. But, I mean, I wouldn't hold it against them if they didn't take any action, as long as they would sit there and notify us and let us know what's going on.
The police officer, have you ever stopped a kidnapping or responded to a missing person call?
Never stopped a kidnapping, but have responded to several missing persons calls, whether them be children or adults. We get a lot of adults that wander away that are older, maybe Alzheimer's and different medical conditions, things like that.
So do you go out and like retrieve them? Like,
yeah, we'll go out and look for them. We always obviously get a description of them first.
Mm-hmm.
Try to figure out what other kind of medical conditions they have, what they've, what they were wearing or last seen wearing, and then we put that out to all of our other officers that are on the street, and we go out and look for them. I also try to find out where they might be going or where they've gone in the past that they could point us in the right direction.
All right. Would you want people to step in and help a person that is in need or danger, or would you rather handle it by yourself?
Well, I think it depends on the situation. Obviously, if somebody is in need of help, we definitely want people to step in and help unless their own safety is in concern. If, for instance, if there's somebody with a gun that is threatening somebody else, we certainly don't want you to get involved because you're probably going to lose that battle. That's better off notifying the right authorities and letting us come in and take care of that threat.
So you think safety is the main priority?
It is. You obviously have to take care of your own safety first, otherwise you're never going to be able to help anyone. But at the same time, if it's a matter of, somebody's injured and you can render aid, then by all means, yeah, we would hope that you would stop and help them.
And if a police officer was trying to subdue a suspect and he was resisting arrest, would you recommend a civilian to jump in and help, or would you let it go?
Well, I would certainly be careful in those situations because you don't want to just jump in and have the officer think that you are also a threat as well. So I think this situation dictates that. Just one example, I was actually involved in a bar fight. I was trying to arrest a subject. Somebody else, his brother actually jumped in and tried to help his brother not be arrested by me, ended up getting on top of me and choking me, and it actually was a civilian who came to my aid and helped me out. I was about ready to pass out from it, and that could have turned into a very bad a worse situation, I should say.
So were you in uniform when that happened?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in that situation, it was one of those deals where the civilian hopping in was a good thing, but like I said, our biggest thing is we can't tell you to jump in because we don't want you to jeopardize your safety. But at the same time, especially in that situation where it was obvious that he had about gotten me completely unconscious, that could have turned into a bad situation, could have grabbed my gun and shot me or shot anybody else. He was obviously enraged. So in that situation, it took a brave civilian that stepped up, that was not armed, that took care of the situation and took him by surprise until I could get back on my feet. So.